have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
Now we have Stephanie and also Brian from Wong Partners. They just finished their first talk. Do you want to explain to us or summarize briefly what you guys just discussed just now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we just got a presentation on the new companies bill. It's a new piece of legislation which will come into force soon, which will replace the entire company framework in Malaysia. So I think the main thrust behind the legislation is that it aims to modernize our corporate law framework and also to bring us essentially into the 21st century. Because our current company's legislation is very old. It has been reformed over time, but what this particular bill does is a wholesale overhaul of the entire corporate legislation, and it aims to make it easier to do business in Malaysia, easier for startups to incorporate a company, and to make it a little bit more modern, make it easy, faster, and less costly to maintain a business in Malaysia.
Okay, cool. The second question I want to ask you guys, for startups or these young entrepreneurs or companies that just about to start a business, what is that one thing that always miss out in legal act, or in general, what is that one thing that they always miss out when they build a company?
Okay, I have a sort of a thought on that one.
Okay.
I don't think it's particularly legal necessarily. I think, first of all, I would say that I think it's great that young entrepreneurs are out there, trying to, add to the burgeoning or developing Malaysian industry. But I think too often, entrepreneurs are in a rush, right? And they are either enamored by private equity or venture capital funding, or they are flattered by a big investment, by a reputable investor or a reputable name. I think the thing I find missing most is attention to detail, right? So I think often parties are in a rush to sign something, to ink something, for the reasons I just mentioned. But I think it really behoves minority investors, or where you've painstakingly developed a company from cradle, to actually focus on the detail and to just take a step back to think about, looking forward a little bit, what are the things I need to think about? What are the sort of minority protections that I need to think about? What are the sort of rights I want to preserve? So, it's a very broad answer, I know, but I think it's really directionally along the lines of, just focusing on what will matter more and looking forward, when you look forward a little bit, and not just be in a rush to do something.
Okay, that's something that you guys have to think about when you start a business. Last question, when it comes to rights and IPs, how do you protect your IPs? Because nowadays we have a lot of startups that comes up with ideas that are already there in the market, but how do you protect that business model? Because some people would just say, oh, your idea is not original, but it's creating a demand. It's creating a product that is already in the market, because if there's no market, there's no demand, correct? So, but how do you protect that IP?
I think, look, the law protects intellectual property which is original, and which is it's meant to provide some protection for the creation of the idea. I think what you're referring to is not so much what we understand as traditional IP, i.e. Patents or copyrights or trademarks, but what you're talking about is essentially an idea, a business model. And that's not something which typically the law protects unless there is a specific business process, for example. So, and the reason for that, of course, is because it's competition, right?
Yes, correct.
You can't, there's no exclusivity to an idea. Just like many of our local startups, I mean, they take inspiration and they take ideas from a lot of the US startups, for example. And that's why you have two big ride-hailing companies in Malaysia, and they operate the exact same business model. And look, it's good for competition.
True.
And so I don't think it's something that you will find protection anywhere in the world, because I think IP laws are quite uniform.
And it's not copying; it's more getting inspired.
Yes. Getting inspired. It's not copying.
And actually reads back into the point that I was making, right? So before young entrepreneurs, rush into an investment, because they're flattered or whatever, I think it's really to take that attention to detail to determine what exactly is your killer app, right?
Correct.
It may not be right which is recognized under law, right? It's the law protects many things, right? Trademarks, service marks, patents, and so on. But I think it really behoves entrepreneurs to understand what is it that they have that is so precious, and to understand whether or not it is protected under the law.
Yes,
Right? It may
yes.
fulfill a demand,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that the law will necessarily protect it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it also depends on what the startup is. I
Yeah.
mean, if the business model is based on proprietary software, then of course you can't copy someone's proprietary
Yeah,
software. That's
correct.
protected. There's probably a patent on it.
Correct.
Yeah. But if you're just talking about business model and idea, then
Or generic process.
yeah,
Yes,
generic
yeah.
process, then that's something which is open and you just have to customize it
True.
and basically localize it for the market.
True.
And make it predictable.
Make it protectable. That's a tip for you guys. So thank you so much for joining
You're welcome.
us.
Thank
okay,
you.
thanks Stephanie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.